present any information, documentary evidence that you wish for the board to consider here this evening.
Thank you. And I thank all the board members for attending here today, and I thank all of those in the audience for appearing here. I know that it's late, and many people would rather be elsewhere doing something else.
Mr. Miller, I will turn things over to you and Attorney Bush.
Me here at this momentous occasion here, and you all need to understand that we're at a crossroads. Arrowhead is at a crossroads right now. You may not be aware of it, but that's what I'm here to tell you. So you have hired a superintendent who does not know what he's doing and is trying to push out all of the qualified teachers from the district. You may want him to be pushing people out. That may be fine, okay? Politically, this is a political decision, this is a political body. We're all clear with that. You go right ahead and exercise your political will. Now, at some point, you're going to find that you have allowed this man, and to be clear, he's a failed superintendent at least twice over now. He went to, he says, no, I'm not going to be interrupted. I'm going to talk, and this is my client's case, and he's going to say his part. You have hamstrung us. You have refused to allow us to bring witnesses. You have allowed this man to testify as to what my client has said. And other people have said. You have allowed him to bring hearsay in there, and you have not allowed me to cross-examine him. Now, I am speaking on behalf of my client. If you don't like what me talking about what's in the newspaper, I really think you're going to end up with a First Amendment problem here.
Mr. Hitchcock-Cross, I understand that you are presenting on behalf of your client.
Okay.
When it comes to the information that you are presenting, I am asking that it be relevant to the proceedings here before the board.
I'll keep that in mind for future reference.
Thank you.
So, as I said, this man was at Greenfield, and he went to Cedarburg. Did he stay as superintendent? No. He took a demotion to go to be the head of HR. Why did he do that? Well, you'll have to ask him. I assume you knew all this when you hired him. I assumed you knew his history. You knew all the problems, his history of cleaning house, how he bragged in the newspaper. We've got newspaper articles that say that he is a house cleaner. That's what he does. And that's one of the reasons the staff revolt at Greenfield was one of the reasons that this man over here was forced to leave. And that's what you all are inviting here today. Now, you should know that you used to have the teacher of the nation for the year. You used to have that here. You don't anymore. Why not? Because of this man. You used to have many qualified teachers, and I understand that we're talking about a dozen teachers have been forced out and retired or resigned because of this man. And this man has just told you the playbook that he uses. He's explained it point blank. He threatened this man, this coach here, Mr. Miller, this honorable person who has done nothing for this district but 19 years of teach all your children. And we have had, there's so many people here, you can look at all their faces here today. Many of you people have children who have either gone through or will go through adventure class. Well, that is to say, if you can find somebody to replace Mr. Miller, which doesn't seem likely. And so you're going to lose this class. Why does adventure class exist? And just anybody tell me if there is not a cooler job in the whole world than to be the teacher of adventure class. To teach your children how to be resilient, how to fish, how to climb ropes, how to live. And you're all risking that and throwing this away based on this man. And let's be clear. He said statements like, there was virtually no teaching of any kind. We went through hours of videotape. We could find nothing to indicate that Mr. Miller was doing any teaching of any kind. Well, those are patently false, and we all saw that. We all saw it with our own eyes that there was teaching going on. When you make statements like there is nothing or virtually nothing, you're going to be proven false fairly easily. The man doesn't even know what an analogy is. We all heard that. How are you going to take the word of somebody who can't even say analogy, this is like a science class? Teaching a gym class is just like teaching a science class. when you show kids in science class how to do lifts, that's similar to when you show kids in gym class how to do lifts. I submit that that is not the standard that you would hold yourself to, nor a professional who's supposedly representing this district. And I want to tell you something. The first moment I got this case, I got a letter from my client here. And what did it have? It had your school district in bright letters across the top. And in one pitch less, who does it have? An egomaniac sitting over there this is not an exercise of power. And I think most of you have realized that. This is not an exercise of power for the benefit of the students. This is an exercise of power simply in and of itself to stroke the ego of this man. And sorry, over there, the witness over there with the blue shirt and the blue, yeah, you need to be recognized, sir. This is for your ego and your benefit. And we want to be clear on that. Now, when we talk about ego, you have a man here sitting next to me, Coach Miller, and I'm going to go on, who has sat here tonight, who has risked his future. He spent 19 years at this district. He is risking separating himself from the kiddos that he loves and that he sweats for every day. He's risking separating from his friends who he works with here and his place in the community. Make no doubt that another district will snap up this adventure program like that. And you will be losing something. I don't know that you can get it back. But you will be losing something that makes Arrowhead what it is. And we all know that this is a destination school district that people want to go to. And you all, Mr. Miller, Mr. Beneker, Mr. Ferris, Miss Woods, Mr. Langer, Miss Hemmer, Miss Angeli, and Miss Schubert are all going to be the ones who are responsible for pushing this district over the edge. You are asking all of these people here to vote for you and to give them, to give you a vote of confidence. And these people here today are demanding that you give a vote of confidence in Mr. Miller and a vote of no confidence in the superintendent. Because let's be clear, what we have here is a bullying incident, an allegation, and we have a bully who's come up. It's the superintendent. We've got 7 videos that we've seen. Not one of them panned out to be what he claimed it was going to be. Not one. And yeah, there was horseplay. There absolutely was. There was children being children. There absolutely was. And what we didn't see, and this is again why the American system is helpful. The American system would have allowed us to get evidence and have other gym classes shown. So you could compare and contrast. Something that might be instructive to do your job. But instead all you're doing is taking his word for it. Did he understand? Does he know what the curriculum is? He does not. How is it that your superintendent doesn't know what the curriculum for this class is? Just for example, let's just say he didn't. Okay? Why do you have a superintendent who came to this meeting so unprepared that he couldn't answer that simple question? What is the name and the purpose of this class? My client is going to be prepared to do that, and he will. Because it's very simple. And again, you could have, if you had followed the American system here, you could have had a witness, several witnesses, for example, the former principal of your high school. Do you know who he is? He would have testified that this man has done a fantastic job for 17 years, that he had personally supervised him, that he was a PE coach, and he was exactly aware of what the situation is. And you can see him back there nodding his head because he saw exactly what was going on there. And by no means did he think that that was some grounds for being fired. Now, you could take his word for it. Now, that's what normal people do in the American system, is you have a witness go up and testify. And so you don't have to take my testimony for it, or you don't have to take what this man said. Because we're not witnesses. We're advocates. And everything that he said was blown out of proportion, was exaggerated, and it was clear from the video. Because again, all he said many, many times that there was virtually no education going on there. And anybody could see with their eyes that that just simply wasn't the case. You could have students testifying in front of you tonight if you wanted to. You could have students telling you what they get from his classes. You could have former students testifying tonight if you wanted, telling you what they get from his classes. Okay? They're all here. We've got them ready to go, but you're refusing to hear their testimony. Maybe that's the advice that you got from the attorney. I don't know. But I frankly think that you're embarrassing yourselves more by hiding from credible witnesses. It's just the American system. What do you have to be afraid of? Why are you so afraid to allow this man to answer questions? Because then you might figure out something like, there was no warning. There was no warning. There was simply an ambush meeting at which it was to discuss bullying. That was the purpose of the meeting. You all have a Loudermill problem now. I'll leave that to your attorney to explain to you what that means. But my client didn't give proper notice before he was ambushed. That's going to raise significant problems. So whatever you vote for here tonight, however you do it, we've got legal challenges to that. That's a problem that you all have, because I don't know what this attorney told you, but the rule of law, the American system still exists in this room, even if you don't think so. That's why, because you have all these people here who are going to be called on to vote for either your referendum or for your individual seats in the future, and I wouldn't want to be asking them their vote when you are the ones who are going to be responsible for pushing this district over. There is a bully and a bully culture at your district, and he had the gall to sit there and show you these I'm sorry, here. He did a PowerPoint presentation. And I want you to understand that the people that you employ here are not cogs. They're not robots. This is not a job at Amazon. You all have children in this district, and you need loving, caring educators who are professionals to do that job. That's what you have here. And that what his allegations, and I mean, what you're allowing here is for him to call this man a liar, to call him a cheat, and to call him a thief. And everybody in this room knows that's not true. They all know that's not true. And you know it's not true too. It's just politics. Because he knows it's not true too. And you know why? Just like Mr. Ferris pointed out, he was going to allow him to continue to teach. So if you're concerned, Miss Wood, about the headlock, well, you were going to have this man was going to allow there to be another year of that. So you can't trust anything he says about that, because the real reason is, like he put out in big letters to everybody to see, it's his way or the highway. His way or the highway. And we've tried that, and what's going to happen? You're losing all your talent. That's what's happening. And these people know it. And this man is here to stand up to this bully and to say, no, it needs to end. That's the only reason he's paying me to be here. He has he's got the evidence here, he's got the ideas written down, and he knows exactly what the shenanigans this man's up to. But I am here today at great expense to explain to you why you are headed towards a cliff here. When you don't follow the law, when you allow attorneys to tell you what you want to hear, and you don't give him his due process rights, you're going to have a problem. And most importantly is what you need to know is you're not going to have adventure class. Why do you have adventure class? Because this man got a grant from the federal government. And that's the only reason why it exists. He had developed the program. There is nobody on your staff who is willing to go up onto those ropes. There is nobody on your staff who is willing to go into that water. And it just so happens that the man who holds all these qualifications is not going to be pushed around by a bully. And that's what you have here. So I'm telling you what you're going to find out in several months anyway, and this same thing happens with these kind of administrators all the time, is that it takes you guys about a year. You hear his promises, you hear his song and dance, you think it's great, he's cutting your budget. You got a PE teacher making $90,000 a year. Somebody stop him. I mean, it's just a living wage, for goodness sakes, for a qualified professional. But I understand. So again, you've got a man who explicitly points out that he is going to retaliate against him. He does not follow the law. He constructively discharges him. And I'll let your attorney explain to you what that means. My client here has no choice other than to stand up to this man's bullying. And he told you exactly how he gave you no choice. You'll either be non-renewed or you resign. That was the offer that he gave. An offer that almost nobody could refuse. How many people have we had leaving here now? 12? You had the student nurse leave of 20. The nurse left because it wasn't a good fit. 20. How many educators do you have in this district that you can afford to lose another 20 next year? And how about the year after that? There's only one person who needs to go. Well, I take that back. There's only 2 people who need to go. That's right. And these people aren't dumb. They know what's going on. These voters aren't dumb. They know what's going on. You all are going to be submitted to democratic scrutiny here because of your behavior here tonight, no matter what. Why? Because you employed this man to bully your educators, the ones that these people entrust you with their children. And so here he's sitting up making a mockery of all this when we're sitting here looking at this video and we know what a joke this all is. So now we're going to have my client explain to you why this is a bunch of nonsense and why you all should be ashamed of yourself. It's almost 10 o'clock at night. You held this meeting at 8 o'clock on purpose. You wouldn't let people speak at this meeting on purpose. You won't let us bring witnesses on purpose. And you won't let this man be cross-examined. Why? Because I think you all know exactly what's going on here. And you all ought to be ashamed because this man is going to destroy your district. And you are going to be the ones who are responsible. So I thank you for your attention. And now we'll have Mr. Miller tell his side of the story.
Before he starts, I really have to say something. I think it's highly inappropriate for you to deflect and to cut down on our superintendent and our principal rather than focusing on why your client is the right fit, why he followed the 700s, why he followed policy and procedure. I think that is highly inappropriate, and I think it gives me great umbrance to hear you speak like that without really knowing anything about what you're talking about. That's the only thing I'm going to say right now. I want Mr. Miller to have his time, but I think that is highly inappropriate.
I'll keep that in mind for future reference. And this is something, you know what's really appropriate? It's called the First Amendment to the United States Constitution. That's always appropriate. You know what's really appropriate is telling public officials, giving them democratic scrutiny, and telling them on behalf of their constituents what the constituents think is wrong. That's what's appropriate. So I understand that you as a public official are taking umbrage to what's being told to you in public about your public duties. But you know what? You ought to, you sir, excuse me, sir, you ought to follow the Constitution.
I do follow the Constitution, and I just think that to deflect the way that you did rather than really defend your client is wrong on many levels.
I'll keep that in mind for future reference.
Yeah, I'm sure you will.
All right. Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, I'm gonna go through the 8 accusations so that I can kind of just explain through the situation. The first one with the accusation 1 states on April 17, 2024, a student reported to another staff member she was being bullied in your class. When asked if you would have seen the bullying or could help with it, the student stated Mr. Miller would not know. He's too busy working out in class. To suggest that I'm too busy for any student at any time is not only hurtful, it's a complete representation of who I am. I'm present, available, and aware in all my classes. I in fact had a meeting with this student a month before the alleged statement was made that I was too busy working out during class. That happened on March 15, 2024. I have an email of actually a correspondence.
That's exhibit
that
number 1.
redacted anything related to any sort of student to protect their safety, obviously. During that meeting, the student explained some of the issues the student was having with other students. After listening to the student, I felt we had some good discussion where I empathized with that student and what they're going through. Had some suggestions to let the student know I would keep an eye on the situation. The alleged statement regarding me too busy working out was made to Associate Principal Becky Gordon. I know this because Principal Gordon told me via email and in person that the student said this. Principal Gordon also told me not to say anything regarding that statement to the student, which I didn't. I spoke to the student's counselor regarding this statement, and the counselor said the student never mentioned a statement such as this or brought up this as a concern. Over the course of April 17th and 18th, Associate Principal Gordon organized a discussion via email that included myself and other staff regarding the student being bullied and possible solutions. Through email and discussion, a solution was developed where the student was able to have separate accommodations within the class. All parties, including the student, felt this was a good plan and it worked well to finish out the semester.
Hold on. Just give me a second.
Yep.
Okay.
Accusation number 2 to 4 states, as a result of the student's statement, the administration reviewed a recording of the weight room where the class takes place to see if any bullying or concerning interaction.
I'm sorry, just to interrupt, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Is it possible for us to take a moment to digest the exhibits that you
Yes,
just
ma'am.
passed?
I'm sorry.
I would greatly appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Don't. No. Uh-oh. Yeah, it is not just. Associate principal.
There's a new associate principal, I believe that will be it. And there's the director of special ed.
Okay.
In fact, I heard say good things about me.
I passed it around.
Some of them don't
so
want to be here. No. So maybe just for ease here, I'll read out these emails so that the public can also hear it too. Hi, Miss. This is an email from Mr. Miller to somebody who's blanked out. And it says, I'll be in the weight room 6th hour. Just knock on the weight room door and we can chat in the East Gym. See you then, Mr. Miller. And this is in response to an email from the 15th saying, hi, Mr. Miller. Sorry to be emailing you early, but Miss Matthias told me to contact you about meeting with you today. I'm sorry that I did not go straight to you with this issue. I just felt myself getting emotional and wanted to get away from the situation. I have 6-hour lunch and it is one of the times I told you are open, ? I was wondering if I could come during the beginning of lunch to talk to you about the situation. Would that work for you? If so, where could I find you at that time? Thank you. And then we have another email. This is Exhibit 2. This is from Becky Gordon. She appears to be an Arrowhead School employee to Jeremy Miller. Hi, Jeremy Miller. I wanted to send you this separate from the group email regarding blanked out, as it is not something the others need to see. When speaking with blank, I asked her if I thought you may have seen or heard any of the behaviors toward her from the other girls. And she said it would be difficult for you to see/hear them because you are working out during that class and the class is spread out. When I came to get blank the other day, I saw you were working out lifting dumbbells in the back of the fitness center to the point of breaking a sweat. I don't know how often this takes place, but you can't work out during the school hours, especially when you have students in the class. Again, I'm not accusing you of doing this on a daily basis, but given the two situations above, I wanted to bring it to your attention to be sure it's not happening each time this class meets, and if it is happening, that it no longer occurs. Thanks, Jeremy. Becky Gordon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Going through accusations number 2 to 4.
Hold on real quick. So